I'd like to begin with a quote by Sean Junkins. So often you find that the students you're trying to inspire are the ones that end up inspiring you. This leads me to my topic of the Common Core. This has become a big issue in the United States now because 44 states so far have adopted this Common Core standard. And to give you a little background information, the Common Core are a common alignment of curriculum that schools will abide by. So far, 44 other states have adopted them, including California, New York, and there are 4 states that have not adopted this Common Core yet. Those states include Texas, Nebraska, Virginia, and Michigan, also Indiana. These states have their own curriculum that they are abiding by. And to begin with, the Common Core has become a very big issue because these curriculum alignments have not been very easy adjustments. A lot of teachers are opting out of these adjustments because they are older teachers and they are close to retiring, so they'd rather retire than teach these new Common Core standards. Now, just to give you a little more background information, starting in 2010, a few states have spent over $125 billion for teacher and professional development to upgrade these new Common Core systems. This is money that schools and school districts claim that they don't have, yet it comes out of pretty much nowhere. In November, the State Board of Education approved different math frameworks because the Common Core does not include the Common Core does include reading and math frameworks, however, it does not include social studies and science. Therefore, the states are supposed to come up with their own social studies and science curriculum. This leaves a lot of leeway for the states, but those two courses are not tested like reading and math are. Therefore, Common Core has the upper hand with this. So, to start with my main topics, my first one is that the standards from top performing schools and countries are compared to United States now. Instead of having China and Italy and Germany all on different curriculum, we're trying to align our curriculum with theirs, which would give our students comparisons to other schools in the world rather than just comparing them to schools in the United States, which doesn't really give the students a chance because this Common Core is fairly new to them, and in other countries it's not as new. My other topic is that, to go with this, another issue is that a lot of times students come to the United States not knowing a lot of English. Well, with the Common Core standards, those students are tested in English no matter if that was their first language or not. So this gives them not an upper hand on the test because they're not able to be tested in their native language, which gives them a problem because this way they are not, since they're not tested in their native language, they're pretty much useless because they can't read English, which means that they're not going to do well on the test. Also, the Common Core doesn't guarantee testing on the global scale. So to go with this, the global scale is referring to other countries that are part of the Common Core. Well, these testing areas are not always the same. So this shows that the Common Core hasn't been aligned properly, but we're still going to be using it to compare our students' scores to common standards. The Common Core is also a program that the government is issuing. And the government is saying that without the Common Core, they will get no government granted money. So without that government granted money, school districts and schools will be suffering from this. Now, this is not always the case because there are some ways you can get funding from the government, but unless you do the Common Core, then you won't. And in states such as Texas, they have to find their own funding to fund their curriculum. All of this information is coming straight from the Common Core website. It has pros and cons of having the Common Core in your state. And because of the negative backlash that I've seen recently, I've begun to agree. Although I live in Texas and I'm getting my teaching certification in Texas, I've realized that the Common Core is not something that a lot of people have agreed with so far. Also, another thing is that for special populations of children, there are not amended tests through the Common Core for these kids. Now, I say that because during STAR testing that we have here in Texas, if a child is of a special population with dyslexia or learning disability, those students get amended tests. So those students will either get extra time, they'll have a chance for an administrator to read the test to them. They get different accommodations that you will not get in Common Core. So these students are being tested and rated against those other students that are among the normal populations in other countries, which is putting them at a disadvantage. My last point is that the Common Core standards are very vague and very broad. Therefore, it gives teachers a little bit of leeway when they're teaching, but it also makes it really hard to align with what a teacher is teaching in California to what a teacher is teaching in New York. They may be teaching the same thing, but they may not be teaching it the same way, which gives them a little bit of an issue because they're not able to communicate as effectively being in two different states. And also, if a student was to move from California to New York or to Florida or Illinois even, the student may not be getting the same exact way. They wouldn't be getting taught the same exact way. They may be getting taught the same curriculum, but it would be a different aspect of those teachings. The last thing I'd like to say is that according to edsource.com, which is another educational website, there were 45% of school districts said that they're only in planning stages as of 2010. And planning stages of the Common Core means that they're still getting the alignments done, they're still getting curriculums written. So being 4 years later, I'd say I wasn't able to find any data on that. But 4 years later, I would hope that their planning has come a little bit further, but I still see that there have been a lot of issues with the Common Core. All in all, I'd like to say that the Common Core could be something beneficial to the United States, but it also could have its negative aspects just because it doesn't accommodate all children. As we are doing now, we're trying to accommodate every child and make sure every child, whether they have a special need or not, is getting taught properly. And I obtained my other information from thecommoncore.wordpress.com, which was a site where they showed me positive and negative aspects of the Common Core as well.